welcome to Let's Talk Politics. I'm Obo. Let's Talk Politics, your #1 political show on AIG Media Pro, and we are counting down the crucial general elections happening just a couple of weeks away. This election having a record number of young people participating, vying for office. Okikiola Jalupon is the candidate of the African Action Congress for the Oshodi Isolo constituency 2. Lagos State House of Assembly poll, and she's vying for office and hoping to have set and obtain the cat.
Yes.
Great to have you join us on Let's Talk Politics. And #1 reason a number of people would ask you, as you've gone through the several words, area you're moving around has close to 800,000 people, I understand, will be, why do you want to contest for election and hope to win?
It's about changing the narrative and then encouraging everybody to actually work. Entrepreneurship skills, education and health is one of the major things that we've been facing. And a lot of people come and promise and then don't do anything. So I intend to work. It's less talk and more work. So I decided to come out. Since I've been part of the complainers, so I decided to be part of the doers too. So that's why I decided to run for it. The 2019 election and hopefully win.
You know, sure, as you walk the streets, going door to door, trying to convince people that they should elect you as a member of the State House of Assembly representing Oshodi Isolo constituency 2. What are the things you've heard from people saying these are the things that are of most importance to us that have to be fixed?
It's majorly education and health. They have always complained, and also support when they run their daily activities, like the woman who sells sandals and earrings. She still sends her children to school, complains that they still come and collect huge amounts of money for the plank that she even puts up just to sell. At the same time, when she spends in a month to pay that, she still spends for the child, and then she has no option because the shop has to keep going. She has to put the child in the house and then keep selling, and then the only thing she has to give the child is food. And after food even costs more at the same time. So those things has affected them. So it's more of education and the health, and also supporting them, like empowering them as they also strive to send the children to school and also maintain their health. So that's like, they're all intertwined, three of them. They all work together. So it's very little changes that would actually show the biggest impact.
What is the problem with the education laws or the education structure in the constituency you seek to represent?
First will be the way they teach. I think the orientation of the teachers and then the headmaster, I don't think they were orientated. Majorly, people have made, I do it intentionally by going to their schools and then talk like I'm actually coming for a child, and then listen to how they talk and what they complain about. So I think they're not really, because to teach and for a child to learn, you really have to have passion for it. I was once a teacher. I taught for about a year before I got into school. So it's more like, before you can make a child learn or want to listen to you, you also have to have passion for that occupation. You understand? So major schools that I've gone to, there's no orientation of how to get a child to work. Also the structures, there's no conducive. I still found a school where they still use chalk to write. Now, as a chemist, chalk causes cancer over time. Now the teacher writes on the board and then still tells the child to go and maybe puts an assignment or the classwork, and then tells the child to go. Now this child still puts the chalk on his or her hand, writes, and goes back to, and probably uses, children, they probably use it to rub their faces, and long term the child might even get home and not have his or her bath, and then continues like that. So its structure is orientation. So I intend to work on those two to actually bring a better equipment, better orientation for the teachers and also the students, better ways to learn.
You also say you've had empowerment, which is a very interesting phrase I hear now and again when candidates go out to meet the electorate. They say empowerment, and empowerment means different things to people. For some, it's bag of rice. For some others, is that you will give them money and all of that. But what ways have you found around the question of how to empower people First, as a candidate, and well, more importantly, as your party, the African Action Congress, is your philosophy around things like empowerment and getting people through monetary means or whatever means to get them to vote for you?
The thing is, there are certain people who just need the equipment to start. I've personally, certain businesses I've wanted to start, I just needed the equipment to start, not actually the money. So some people who I've met in the grassroots, they said it's grinding machine that they need, nothing more but grinding machine. They've had experience with, but they can't do anything. There are certain people who are very good with bead making. I recently spoke to a friend of mine who does gele. I happen to be her friend when so I told her, if you could do gele, why don't you take classes for gele, then teach other people? She's like, the machine to do it is not there. So that's a means of empowerment. She's ready to work. From there, she teaches more people, and then that also improves employment and then self-reliability. So that way, that's how I feel I should empower people who are already skilled, who can also teach people. That's my way of empowering. For the children, ICT, it's like we're going digital now, and ICT is very important. You find some schools who still don't have computers. I could say when I was in primary school, I didn't even operate. The computer is always dead. And then when they want to take pictures...
At least you saw a computer. I didn't see a computer as a child.
When the computer is there, they just put us to sit there and then they take pictures and then post it online. Nothing is working. They ask us to pretend. So for junior secondary school, primary school, it was later in senior secondary school I got to put on a computer. So it's really, it was really tough for me to start learning how to really operate, and then the world is really going digital. So for the children empowerment, I intend to empower them with the ICT training, so they can also know how to operate these certain things, very, very, very simple thing that also improves them. We have people who do we also have people who are actually good in ICT, but then can't find means to teach other people or to even improve on themselves. So that's an empowerment for the youth himself or herself, and then for the children. So it's balanced. It's balanced.
One thing I've also seen is that for a lot of candidates, that perhaps the first time of coming into the politics or the parties that are new in nature, has been funding. Funding has been a big issue for many of them. They don't have war chests like the other parties that have been there in times past. How have you gone around this one?
Funding is a really big issue for me personally. I could say it's a really minus for me. Luckily, I've been able to meet people who have seen me meet people, talk to people who have actually decided to donate. Some who have done that by creating materials, some who have done that by advising me on how to go about it without so much money. But truth is, partially politics is money, and I've not really been able to wrap myself around that. You say
that tongue in cheek that politics is partially money, or politics is all money.
It's partially money.
Okay.
There has to be work and money. You have to be ready to work, because the money is the one that actually gives out the whole material. The money actually comes with the material, not for sharing, but then the materials for awareness. That's where the funding comes in. It's not to go and give somebody 2,000 naira to vote for me. No, it's just like I said, they want T-shirts, they want caps. That's how they want to create awareness.
When you come across people who tell you that if you don't give us money, we're not going to vote for you, have you encountered those people?
Yes, a lot. Somebody have told me to bring a bag of rice. Then after the bag of rice, when I get in, I have to give the person a contract to start working for me. And I'm like, what have you ever done for me that will make me give you a contract? And then it doesn't work like that. I said, I can be surrounded by people who are not ready to work, because I'm ready to work. So if I give you a bag of rice and I get in, don't call me to don't expect me to remember you. No, I paid you for 4 years already. And then later I should be around 12,000 naira. Yeah. Let's say I'm really being expensive. And then I give you 12,000 naira bag of rice. There are some families that eat that in 1 month.
I'm going to put you on the pause here, Taiwo. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll continue our discussion on Let's Talk Politics with Taiwo Okikiola, Taiwo-Jalupon Okikiola, who is the candidate for the African Action Congress. Right after this, please do stay with us. Welcome back to Let's Talk Politics on AIG Media Pro. I'm Awogo Obo, and we're still having a discussion with Taiwo-Jalupon Okikiola, who is a candidate of African Action Congress. Ahead of the 2019 general election, she's vying for the position of the seat of the State Assembly, representing Oshodi Isolo constituency 2. And we've been looking at a number of issues here, Taiwo, with respect to what the people in your constituency think is the most important bill, for example, you should be passing or amending if you get elected into office.
It's going to be sponsorships and scholarships. Sponsorship for those who are venturing into entrepreneurial skills, and then scholarships for those who want to either go back to school, those who are in school who are not able to afford the school fees, or then who can do both but really need help. So that's the bill that should be passed. It would increase, it will reduce poverty elevation, and also help to reduce unemployment. So it works both hand in hand.
So now that we're on the Assembly, I'm still looking on the politics of the Assembly before we move into some other development issues. One of the big problems, well, not necessarily a problem for the ruling party because it does control many times all the seats in the State Assembly, and there's some sort of rubber stamp any action of the governor. If it's a bill that has been put forward by the governor, for example, the chances that it will scale through without any real debate. Take, for example, the land use controversial law, which was shut down a couple of months ago, last year. Or even the budget, if it's being passed, most times will sail through without any check or balance. If you get elected, there's a likelihood that your party will not be the majority party in the Assembly, and the chances that you could be swallowed up in all the politics is there. How do you hope to deal with this?
Lobbying is necessary because to be able to work for your community or your constituency, you have to be able to lobby around other people. You know, you have to be ready to face that problem. So it's by getting people their, is it sympathy, is it their control their mindset, just to get that bill passed in just for your community.
When you say lobby, you mean compromise, for example, like accepting Ghana must go?
No, I could say the ways where you use emotional intelligence. That's how I feel I could do that for my, just using everybody. We're all humans, no matter what position we're in, or we're all humans. So there's a way we could connect, and then we could reach them in the house just to get them feeling. Yeah.
A favorite pastime of many lawmakers is jumping ship or cross-carpeting many times. Has been the vogue in this country's politics since 1999 to date. You see a possibility that you could cross-carpet change your party and then move to any of the other parties if you get elected?
I am fine with the African Action Congress, majority or minority. So I intend to still work with the African. I intend to still work for the African Action Congress.
Okay. Yes. Let's look at the constituency too. Some of the development issues that happened around there. Thinking, we're talking earlier on just during the break, the development happened especially along Ajawa Estate. To think that everything is fine and dandy, especially with the roads and everything going on, you could assume that you have development to a certain level where several parts of Lagos don't enjoy. Is it false to think that everything is okay there and there is no need for any improvement?
Not everything is okay. Majorly, the places where they're done are the major roads where everybody sees. But you need to go into the streets, the houses of certain people. The road is very bad, especially in Isolo, just opposite the Obas Palace. There's a very deep hole where some cars are always going this way when they're about to. So it's not just doing the outside. The inside too has to be fine. So the inside is not fine at all, just the outside. So I think there's still a lot of development that has to be done in the constituency, majorly. Yes.
Tell me also something in terms of, we haven't talked about healthcare yet, but which is a very crucial part. Health is wealth, is what is usually said. what plans do you have in terms of legislation for healthcare in the constituency too?
It should be before you get equipment in certain hospitals or healthcare centers, you have to orientate the people who are going to be working there, because now it's not longer about the machines. It has to be about the people who are also attending to these people. So then orientation first, then equipment. I don't need to go abroad to go check if I have a chronic ulcer or not, or then I have cancer. There are some laboratories who do that already, but then all these things are needed in the public health, because we find that the people with the low standards of living are the ones who experience, let's say, cancer, migraines, typhoids, malarias, and the rest of them. So these people have to be taken care of before we start looking at other areas. So majorly the health, that's how I intend to orientation, then proper equipment to run this thing.
On the campaign trail, I know a number of people have complained sometimes that the big parties sort of introduce the element of thuggery. You have youths who are armed and who sometimes will attack people when they go out on the streets to campaign because they don't come from their parties or share their same political ideologies. The constituency you are in, you've got some fanciful neighborhoods. I know we don't have those sort of problems in, but Oshodi, I know a couple of years I did cover the political scene, has had its own fair share of violence the lead up to the elections, and sometimes even during elections you've had postponements happen because of incidences of violence. How have you been able to deal with this?
We had one recently. We had some of our members being attacked. Well, it's really unavoidable, because the orientation of the people now is just to attack, especially when you're not on the supporting train. So we've found ways by talking to the police, meeting some of the leaders, that we just want peace. So whatever we're going to do, just do and then go.
Has that been adequate? The security from the police?
Some have listened, because we're two ways: the stubborn people and people who actually listen. So it's still been some listening, some not. So we've been able to work. We're able to work around that. It's still fine for the meantime before it gets really tough. Yes, because I know around February, early. The election is March 2nd, so around February it's really going to be heavy. So I hope people would have orientated a lot of people by then, so the number of violence would have reduced. Yes.
Finally, let's talk about vote buying. Recently there was a lot of activity by INEC, sort of put up a policy guidelines to find ways to prevent vote buying happening during the poll or even after, so that people don't take camera phones, for example, and then snap as evidence to show that they have voted for a particular candidate. And then even the Electoral Act, which has not been signed into law by the President yet, certain parts of the Act, the bill rather, sought to deal with vote buying. Are you concerned as we head to the elections that this could be a major cause for concern, especially for your party when you have concerns for funding?
What I do is, because the vote buying starts from the people. If I won't buy your vote if you're not the one that actually owns it, and then I try to orientate people how powerful that PVC is. What just one vote could do. Recently in California or so, the person won by just one vote. So I had to make them understand that vote buying is a really big thing. And if somebody comes to you to give you 2,000 naira just to get your PVC, around November, we had let me say a political party come just close to my street, and they were sharing a derica of rice in exchange for your PVC. You can't come with your phones, you can't come with anything. You just collect your bag of rice, you write down there. So there's still a lot of issues about vote buying. And then I tell them something. I said, if somebody comes to you and tell you, I'll give you 2,000 naira, just give me that paper or give me that card. Tell them that you don't want 2,000. Tell them to solve the problem, that you're owing house rent for 5 years. Why didn't they put that for you? If they can do that, then you could give them. But if they can't do that, tell them they can't have your vote.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Our time flies when you're having a great discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Taiwo-Jalupon Okikiola, who is the candidate for the African Action Congress for the Oshodi Isolo constituency 2 state assembly elections happening in February. Until next time, I'm Auro Obo, and let's talk politics. You have a great time. Bye-bye.